We are continuing to follow a serious story we first brought to your attention yesterday. Investigators say more potential victims are already coming forward after a local youth tennis coach is charged with inappropriate conduct.
Joshua Denault made his first court appearance in Brown County Court today. Based on the evidence recovered so far, officials believe there could be victims going back 3 years. The 40-year-old facing 4 felony charges, including capturing an image of nudity and child enticement and exploitation. These charges led to his firing as a tennis staff member at Western Racket and Fitness Club. This specific allegation, though, involves a victim at Four Seasons Tennis Club, which Western operates. With the First Alert update, now Brittany Schmidt takes us through the criminal complaint. Brittany.
Bill and Cammie, investigators say their case is just getting underway and they suspect more potential victims to come forward in the future. Since the story first came out yesterday, officials say they've already had a couple reach out to them. Brown County investigators started their investigation in early May when a member of a junior tennis program reported Denault to authorities. According to the criminal complaint filed this afternoon, a 10-year-old girl told authorities that she recognized Denault was recording her with a cell phone that he placed on the ground that police say was inappropriately positioned. It's a crime often called upskirting. Investigators later found 36 videos on his phone capturing similar images with potentially different victims. Police say other evidence from the cell phone shows an adult woman being sexually assaulted while unconscious. The sheriff's office is asking anyone with any information to contact them. It could help in their investigation.
In this case, we have multiple child victims. The defendant, quite frankly, is a serial child sex crime offender based on the preview of the cell phone videos that were recovered by investigators.
The state could be looking at additional charges as the investigation continues. Denault is being held on a $75,000 cash bond. If he does post bond, he will be required to wear a GPS monitor. He will be back in court next Friday. Cammie.